ऑल माइक ओके। ये वाला माइक चाहिए, ये वाला, ये साउंड चेक, साउंड चेक चेक करो। किसी काम नहीं, दरकार नहीं, दे ही दियो। हेलो,
ऑन करो।
चेक ओके।
डिजिटल पोर्ट
इसके ऊपर क्या माइक चाहिए? कॉलर माइक नीचे की तरफ रखो। ऑन करके आएगा।
पोडियम माइक, वुडन पोडियम माइक चेक, वुडन पोडियम माइक।
हेलो 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 1 2 3 हेलो सर, थोड़ा वॉल्यूम इंक्रीज करना है इसका, ये दूर रहेगा।
चेक चेक चेक। निर्मल्य गेन 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 लो, गेन और टिक्के लो निर्मल्य।
हेलो हेलो, ठीक है।
गेन टिक्के और लो करो हल्का सा।
हेलो 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 1 2 3 हेलो हेलो। वो तो सर हर स्पीकर आएगा ना, वो अपने हिसाब से थोड़ा थोड़ा तो मोल्ड करेगा।
इधर ही रखते हैं, ठीक है। जिसको देना है डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना है।
वो बोलेगा डायरेक्ट ऑन ऑफ, उसमें म्यूट का कुछ नहीं है, या उसमें भी कुछ नहीं है म्यूट का, डायरेक्ट ऑन ऑफ।
हेलो चेक, हेलो इको जी, हेलो हेलो चेक, हेलो हेलो चेक ओके ओके क्लियर। हेलो इको जी, इको जी टिके जस्ट लाइट ओके क्लियर साउंड टिके इको जी टिके जस्ट कुं। चिन्मय भाई कहले इयरफोन पाखे रख, कहला पार्टी पाखे रखनी। वो कौन है? संजीत भाई है। इको हो जो हाँ कंटिन्यू
1 2 3 इको होनी बेसिक माने क्लोज इसकी रे डिस्टेंस কিছু অসুবিধা তো নাই এটা নাই। আরে এটা তো নেই যাଉଛି ঠিক। check check
PGP 1 students sitting at the back row, please come forward and occupy the seats at the front please first. There are a few seats left, 2 here, 1 here, 2 here. Please,
ओवरऑल टिके
please
इको
do it quickly, we have to start soon.
माइक रो ओवरऑल टिके इको।
Guys, do we have to make repeated announcements?
ସେଇଟା ନା ତଲେ ଯୋ ଲାଗିଛି
There are seats over here.
ନିର୍ମାଲ୍ୟ
ସୀତାକାନ୍ତ ଭାଇ ଠିଆ ହେଇଛି, ମୁଁ କହିଲି ସଞ୍ଜିତ ଭାଇ ଠିଆ ହେଇଛି। ଶୁଭୁଛି ମୋ କଥା ନା? ସୀତାକାନ୍ତ ଭାଇ ଆସନ୍ତୁ ଆସନ୍ତୁ, ଆପଣଙ୍କର ନିହାତି ଜ୍ଞାନ ବାବୁ ୱାଇଫାଇ ଗୋଟେ ୱାକି ଟକି, ତମେ ସେପଟେ ଗୋଟେ ରଖ, ଆମକୁ ଏପଟେ ଗୋଟେ ଦିଅ, ଫୋନରେ କାମ ହବନି। ଶୁଭୁଛି ନା ନାଇଁ? ଶୁଭୁନି? ସ୍ପିକର ଅଫ୍ ଅଛି କି? हेलो चेक, हाँ क्लियर, चलची चलची, हाथ मार साउंड होनी, पावर पावर ऑन अच्छी, लाइट जलनी किसी। हेलो चेक,
ଚେକ୍ ନିର୍ମାଲ୍ୟ ଷ୍ଟେଜ୍ ସ୍ପିକର୍ସ କାମ ଅନ୍ ଅଛି। ଚେକ୍ ଚେକ୍ ଆସୁଛି। ଆସୁଛି ଲିଭ୍ ଇଟ୍ ଛାଡ଼ି चेक 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 असल असल ऑडियो चेक 1 2 3 चेक चेक ऑडियो क्लियर चेक 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 वेट वेट चेक क्लियर चेक चेकिंग 1 2
हेलो
चेक हेलो 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 चेक निर्मल है भाई हेलो माइक गुरा मार्किंग कर दो हाँ मार्किंग कर दो टिके बस आउ टिके हाँ ओके आउ टिके कमे दो टिके जस्ट साउंड टिके कमे दो हेलो हाँ बस ओके बिकी बिकी जाऊँ माइक गुरा मार्किंग कर दो साउंड टिके इको हो नहीं जाऊँ बिकी हेला पहुँचल माइक रो मार्किंग कर दियो स्टेज फास्ट रो थ्री टू लिखिद गोटे पेज रे डायग्राम कर लिखिद टिके इको रोज हेलो 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 चेक हेलो चेक चेक हेलो 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 चेक हेलो 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 चेक ओके ये दुटा ओके 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 हेलो चेक टिके इको टिके आउ तळु शाइनी है जो हेलो चेक इको टिके रोज माइक हेलो चेक हेलो स्टूडियो मास्टर ओके एटा अछि डबल टू ओके हाँ हेलो चेक वन टू वन टू ओके हाँ लाइव चल रहा है ना क्या हेलो 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 एटा फोर टू फोर टू फोर टू आउट के साउंड 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 टिके नहीं 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 इको होची ता कमे दे बस स्लो था सेती था हेलो हेलो चेक हेलो 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 जस्ट टिके साउंड जस्ट हेलो हेलो चेक हेलो हेलो चेक चेक ओके हेलो विकी हेलो स्टेज लाइट ऑन करो लिखा है बस थाओ हेलो ऑडियंस माइक नोट माइक नंबर सीरियल नंबर नोट 413151 ऑडियंस 413151 से निर्माल्य अछंती हेलो ऑडियंस माइक हेलो नोटेड हेलो चिन्मय भाई ऑडियंस माइक नोटेड 413151 ये तीनटा ऑडियंस माइक दबा हला हाँ हेलो एक वहां पर रहेगा 2121 माइक ये पोडियम के पास रहेगा ठीक है हेलो नोटेड चालू प्रोग्राम सब हेलो
Knowledge without practice is useless. Practice without knowledge is dangerous. This ancient maxim holds great implications in today's world of business, where actions and in scholarly sense, theory and practice, if we are to secure success in the highly competitive world of commerce and market as tomorrow's business leaders. It is the became the seed of powerful idea that has, through the course of history of our esteemed institute of national importance, germinated to unite the academia and the industry in the form of this grand tree of pragmatic knowledge of wisdom called Marmagya. Marmagya, the annual flagship business conclave of IIM Sambalpur, is a platform for industry leaders, subject matter experts, and eminent entrepreneurs to discuss the current state and future trajectory of the paradigm of business itself with all its nuances and complexities. The eighth iteration of this prestigious event, for which we have gathered here, will be centered around the theme catalyzing business resilience through leveraging convergence, which highlights the importance of leveraging convergence as a powerful catalyst for building resilient business in today's dynamic world and volatile environment, where organizations face unprecedented challenges. So without further ado, we will now begin with the inauguration ceremony of Marmagya 8.0, and now request all the dignitaries, the faculty, the coordinators, and the esteemed guests to come to the stage for the lighting of the lamp.
शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम्
I would request faculties to join the lighting of this lamp, please.
बुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिः परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपज्योतिः परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपो हरतु मे पापं सन्ध्यादीपनमोऽस्तुते ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः आरोग्यं देहि पुत्रांश्च मतिं स्वच्छामि शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिः परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः
Now I request our Honorable Director, Sir, Professor Mahadev Jaiswal, to welcome our eminent guest for this inaugural ceremony. The chief guest, Mr. Kailash Pandey, President and Cluster Head, Hindalco Industries Limited. Keynote speaker, Mr. Rajiv Bhalla, who is the former Managing Director of Barco Electronic System Private Limited. A keynote speaker, Mr. Rachit Pradhan, Director Business and Marketing Analytics, Z5. I would now like to request our chief guest, Mr. Kailash Pandey, to address the audience.
So good morning. Okay. Okay. But a good morning is still there. Yeah. It's the welcome speech with that.
Okay, so I would like to invite Director Sir Professor Mahadev Jaiswal for the welcome speech to the dais, please.
Very good morning. Chief guest, Mr. Kailash Pandey, President and Cluster Head, Hindalco Industries Limited. Keynote speaker, Mr. Rachit Pradhan, Director, Business and Marketing, Analytics G5. Keynote address speaker, Mr. Rajiv Bhalla, former Managing Director, Barco Electronics System Private Limited. My colleague, Professor Surendra Hanumantrao, other guest panelists present here, my colleagues, faculties, staff, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. It's my privilege to welcome you all on the 8th edition of Marmagya, the annual business conclave of IIM Sambalpur. On the theme, which is how to manage resilience through convergence. And these 2 days conclave will be addressed by many stalwarts from various industries, from different domains like consulting, finance, HR, marketing, operations. I'm sure these discussions will create new ideas for all of us. And we all know that in today's changing business dynamics, how convergence and resilience is becoming so important. To many of our guests present here, I would also like to give some background about IIM Sambalpur. How are we operating here, and what are our vision and what are our core values? So this IIM, as part of the Generation 3, was set up in 2015, and with the vision of nurturing responsible leader with entrepreneurial mindset. And we operate around our core values around 3 I's, that is innovation, inclusiveness, and integrity. And therefore, we also call ourselves as IIM 3.0 because we were created or we came during digitalization's era and startup era. And therefore, our pedagogy, our thought process, our vision, and our operating values are more aligned with the changing world. In terms of these three I, in terms of our action, what have you done so far in last 8 years? If you talk about inclusiveness, in fact, I would like to also quote some research about this year's Nobel laureate, Professor Clara Goldman. She has been working on gender economics. The broad theme of her research has been gender economics, the women's participation in the labor, primarily in the US market, but which is quite relevant to the entire world. And what are her findings? Because only last week she was conferred Nobel Prize on this very pioneering work. About 200 years data she has collected from the history of women in the labor force. And what she discovered, very interesting facts. If you read her article, prior to industrializations, prior to Industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, the whole world was focusing on either agriculture as an industry or weaving industry. And that time, globally, not only in US, even in India, women's participations in the labor force was almost equal to the men. Okay. However, when industrialization happened, and she quote research of 1920 in US, and as for her research, it says in 1920 in US, the women participations fell down to 25% in the labor market. The primary reasons behind was manufacturing industry coming and mining industry coming, which would discourage women to come into those jobs. And the labor participation of women fell down to 25%. However, very soon, US realized it, because you can't become global power without equal participations of both the gender. And they came out with a strict policy that they stopped doing manufacturing at all. One was environmental hazards, and second was women are getting deprived from the work. And they banned a lot of manufacturing industries. And as a result, a lot of service industry got invented in US. And women participation today in US is 48%. 48% in the workforce in US economy and US labor force is women. Let's try to link with Indian. Can you just control the noise here? Let's compare India in 2023, almost 100 years after US changed the policy. Broadly, women's participation in the labor market is about 15 to 18% in India. But if you also include agriculture and other non-organized sector, it will be maximum 25%. So we are almost 100 years behind from the most developed country of the world in terms of gender economics. Now, that is one very important factor for any management institute. I'm trying to give linkage with what IIM Sambalpur has been thinking and has been doing it in the same front. 2019, prior to 2019, and some of you have studied in IIM system, you will agree that women's and female participation, girls' participations in IIM systems were average not more than 11%, 10 to 11%. And that was true here also. 2019, we came out with a gender inclusion in our admission policy, and 2019 MBA, first time we became 48% girls and female in our MBA programs, and today, this year, we have 60%. And that has changed the narrative of all across B schools and IIMs, and everywhere it is more than 30 to 40%. So that is in terms of inclusiveness what we have been talking and what we have been able to initiate. Can you just slow the mic volume? And Another inclusiveness which we have initiated. The businesses, of course, everybody talks, when in IIM system, everybody talks about large MNCs, large companies, large public sector, and everybody desire to work there. However, we have to also experiment our talent in terms of bringing the small businesses, the grassroots business, which are innovation driven, to the global market. And we created another project to bring the master weavers and artisans business into the global digital market. So we signed MOU with Flipkart and also with SIDBI and ONDC, and we in the project of that process of putting them, first giving entrepreneurial educations and then also putting them to digital marketplace. So this is part of our inclusive agenda, which we have been talking, but we have been able to initiate. In terms of innovation, first step is that we have created the state of the art, because innovation today's world is all because of technology. Whatever innovation is happening in business or education, is primary driver is technology, digital technology. So we have made a state of the art digital infrastructure in the entire campus. That's step one. We have also introduced concept called the learning pedagogy called flipped classroom, where we don't want just to teach, but we want to create a learning environment where project-based experiential learning should be brought in the class. And we are in a big way propagating and also creating startups and innovation-driven business as part of our incubation center. Can you just reduce the volume, please? Yeah. There's a lot of echoes happening, so that's disturbing. So these are the two I's we have already initiated. Now coming to the theme of this conclave, I would like to give examples of my own experience. So 2004, I went to US as a senior Fulbright fellow, and I landed at Carnegie Mellon University. I was a full professor, so I was doing my research in the field of digital, and also I was doing consulting in digital transformations for large public sector and private sector. And whatever I learned was more in terms of how technology works and how organization works. There I met a professor, Dennis Rochaud. She was my neighbor, and very interestingly, I was from an information system field, and in US when I landed, they put me in, they say that you will be sitting in the School of Public Policy and Governance, which has no link with my work. And your research center will be in the Department of Computer Science, because I was working on contract and IT contract, so they were doing CMM work, pioneer work in Carnegie Mellon. So you say your research center, your all professors and colleagues will be computer science. However, you will be attached to business school, paper school of business. I was very confused. I say 3 different areas I have to work. Okay. When we were talking about convergence, that was my first experience of convergence, how convergence happens. And it was very challenging for few. So they asked me to present my research. Although I had some publication, but not as compared to what US professor will be doing. Like they will be having FT50 and all those management science journals. We had no clue about that. But I had a very strong consulting data, so I presented that. And I was since doing projects as a consultant or digital transformations in Indian organizations, Indian industries. I was mostly looking from the legal contract. Like when you prepare RFP document for selection of solutions, the first step is prepare a detailed project report and then request for proposal document, RFP. And that was purely based on the terms and conditions, which are legal terms, GFR rules, etc. I was quite familiar as per the practice. First time I learned the term called, no, legal contracts are important, but you can't do business just with legal contract. I said, then what is the other contract? The Dennis Rousseau, she said, take my book. She is the author of a book called Theory of Psychological Contract. So theory of psychological contract was the first term which I heard, okay, in my professional career. And she said that we will be teaching a course jointly, okay, to master program in the public policy, because she was in public policy. Her husband was in business school. He was also a professor of organization behavior. So we went to teach master program, and she said that you teach legal contract, I will teach psychological contract to the same group. And then we'll merge, converge. Okay. So that was the first time I learned and heard. And I came back after 2 years with a lot of learning. I was doing a big project for Steel Authority, large project for a complete transformation using SAP and all those things. So before that, we were doing some conference like this on governance, digital governance and e-governance. So I wanted to invite some ministers. So I, through somebody known, one MP, member of parliament from Rajya Sabha, she was a lady. So she called me that come to my house, bring the professor. I was not knowing her, she was not knowing me, but through some contact, she gave time and we went to meet her in the evening. She said, I will introduce you to the minister who will come for your conference. So we were doing basically for bureaucrats. So the friend whom introduced me with her, she told one professor of mine will be coming to your home. So she said, okay, fine. When I reached, I was sitting in her wedding hall and she came and then she saw her friend and she saw me also. Then she said, where is the professor? So I stand up. That time I was quite young, 30s. So she said, professor, he is not looking like a professor. Okay. Professor means should be a gray hair, okay, or bald hair, something. And she was surprised. Then I did the project and the program, and then we went to Steel Authority. And one of the plants, there were several plants. So Bhilai steel plant was no problem. Durgapur steel plant, I landed. Okay. When I landed, the general manager of sales told me that, sir, why have you taken Durgapur steel plant? I say, why? Here it is impossible to implement any digital technologies because when IBM server was brought, the entire trade union were against that, say that should not enter to our campus or premises. So that is the environment you are going for SAP implementation there. Okay. So you will have a bad name. So I said, I have already signed contract, now I can't go back. Okay. And now I was knowing, apart from legal contract, I say, I will manage to psychological contract. Okay. Okay. So he said, fine, all the best. I met managing director and he wanted me that, what you need to do this project? I said, as for my understanding, we need a good leader to lead the project in team. Okay. The first step is give me the leader, project manager, okay, who will train and we will work with them. Since it's a very complex project. So I don't know what he understood. Sometimes our communications are not very effective. So next day he brought one person, his name was Hajra Chaudhary. He said, sir, he is a good leader. Okay. What is his background? He said he's a president of trade union. Okay. So he misunderstood leader means somebody who leads the masses. Okay. We were looking for a business leader. I say he's a trade union leader, he will oppose everything. Okay. He said, sir, he didn't allow IBM server to enter here. Now he is your project manager because you wanted a leader, so we have given you the leader. It was very challenging. I asked my colleague, senior professor, I said, sir, I am too young to manage him, he is senior to me, can you manage him? He said, but I don't understand psychological contract. I can only manage to legal contract. And he will not be managed with the legal contract because he will find another rules to bypass and counter you. So I said, anyway, Now we have to go. I had a discussion with him. I said, it is your project. If it fails, you will fail, not me. I am just advisor. Okay. He said, sir, I don't know ABCD of this, so I will come and attend every meeting. And what I saw is, whenever he used to come, all the 40 members, before 10 minutes before he used to reach, because they were all afraid from him, because he was a big leader. Okay. So everybody was scared from him, and everybody was just following whatever he used to say. Then suddenly there was a decision at the corporate level, sale. He said, please stop all the projects. There are a lot of challenges. Only let Bhilai and Bokaro, they have advanced, so they will do all other sale plant. This project is stalled. So it was a great relief for us. I said, now we don't have to handle this, Mr. Hajra Chaudhary. Now what happened, Ms. Hajra Chaudhary went to sale corporate office with all union. He said, if you stop my project, then I will stop the entire sale plant. Okay. Because he was the president of all the officer association. Okay. And then within a day, the sale authority has to change their decision. He said, no, they will carry on. Okay. And then he started following whatever we used to say, and he got the project implemented before Bhilai and Bokaro steel plant. Okay. So sometimes convergence of very contrast kind of people may work out very well. Okay. This is the power. I also met two, three very interesting professors, because every professor in US when you meet, they will talk about theory, okay, their own theories. So Dennis Russo talked about theory of psychological contract. Herbert Simon I met, he talked about theory of bounded rationality, which is again very practical. When I met Clinton Christensen, he talked about theory of disruptive innovation. He was experimenting at Harvard. When I met Robin Austin, professor of operations technology, and since he was a PhD from Carnegie Mellon, so I had a connect, so I met. And he took me to the class when he was teaching along with the chief executive officer of Ford Motors in the class. And he gave me a book. I presented my book, MIS, and he presented his book. And the title of his book was Artful Making. And it was authored by Robert Austin, professor of operations, and another person who is chairman of drama company. Okay. I asked him, Robin, how come drama company chair and you are writing a book and then teaching artful making in the manufacturing class? He said, manufacturing has to be made more interesting, only by using arts, okay, not just by science. So like psychological contract makes contract more powerful, legal contract, same way, art and culture makes your manufacturing more interesting and more applied, more creative. So these are the experimentations we are doing here. And he was author of that kind of theory. Then I met at MIT Professor Rose Forrester. Now, Professor Forrester he took some classes to us. He is no more now. So he talked about theory of system dynamics. Now, system dynamics I heard earlier. In India, most of the IITs professors do research on system dynamics. And he had to work on behavior science and operation science. That's called system dynamics. So these are the convergence of various research which has created new ideas. I'm sure this 2 days conclave will also be giving some new ideas. So this kind of convergence of technology, convergence of diversity, convergence of different experts coming here, and convergence of different disciplines our professors are working. I'm sure this convergence will be able to create new innovations at IIM Sambalpur, because innovation is one of the most important pillars for us. So if you're doing this conclave with that objective, then I'm with you, and best wishes. Thank you.
Next, I would like to request Mr. Rachit Pradhan to deliver the keynote address.
very good morning to all of you. It's a great honor to be to be delivering the keynote in the business conclave of India's finest B school. Being here gives me a lot of fond memories of my own time at IIM Indore campus. I want to congratulate each one of you for coming up with such a relevant and impactful topic. We live in ever-changing world wherein disruptions compel people to either reinvent themselves or paint themselves into a corner. When you say that a person is painted themselves into a corner, think of a painter who's painted the entire room, right, and forgot the way to the exit, right? Now there are two ways that can happen. Either the painter has to work on his own work or wait for the paint to dry up. Now the similar logic applies to all the organizations and business leaders that fail to foresee their future and they drive their organizations towards a non-viable outcomes. So think of the Ukraine war, think of a pandemic, the Great Resignation. Only the resilient companies are the ones who are able to bear and move ahead. Now let's try to better put this resilience in form of a framework. We're in a B school, so let's talk about the framework. I call this the SATT framework. Okay, so it stands for sense. So an agile leader is able to sense what's about to come. Okay, is able to adapt their strategies. It's able to thrive by moving quickly from assessment to actions and seizing growth opportunities, and then transform to deliver impact and sustain success. A great example of this is Amazon, right? Now, when we were trapped during the pandemic, Amazon was the company who was delivering from sanitizers to the content. Now, there are three areas where the companies can build resilience. The first one I would call as the technology and the operation resilience. It's basically companies sustaining the core operations and maintaining the ability of key technology. Now, second area, what we call is the operational resilience, where there's a capacity of business or companies to withstand and respond to the operational risk. We can call operational risk in the form of human attacks, cyber attacks, and natural disasters. Now, there are KPIs to measure this. First one would be a recovery time objective, wherein you have a maximum acceptable time before the critical operation kind of restores after the disruption. The second KPI that we can have is the medium time to recover, which is the average time taken to restore function and to restore after the disruption. The second domain is the data resilience, where the company is able to maintain the confidentiality of data. Right? A key KPI in this case would be something like a recovery point objective. So the maximum amount of data loss that you can bear after the disruption. Okay. The third area would be the financial resilience, wherein the company is able to sustain financial performance, liquidity, and solvency. Again, in this area, you can have KPIs like ROA, so return on assets, debt to equity ratio, profit margins, etc. The fourth area in terms of resilience would be the workforce and organizational resilience, wherein the company is able to maintain the productive workforce and it's able to execute the mission as per the culture, right? Again, in this regard, you can have KPIs like employee engagement, turnover, customer loyalty, and customer satisfaction. Now, there are numerous ways in which business leverage convergence to build resilience. Now, it can be in the form of progressive partnerships with other companies across the sectors, right? Or it can be in the form of mergers of one or different distinct technologies, systems, industries, and devices into a unified place. Those who are able to leverage convergence are the ones who are able to adapt and harmonize with the changing conditions. Okay? So in terms of the convergence, it gives you three proper benefits. It helps you pool your resources and expertise. It helps you increase your efficiency and productivity. And it also helps you in tapping your new markets and new customer base. Reliance Jio was the telecom company which came in 2015 with the price war, right? So Vodafone and Idea had no option but to slash down their prices, combine their rural and urban bases to gain 35% of the market share. That was their way of being resilient, right? Google, which celebrated its 25th birthday, it leveraged IT convergence from being merely from a search engine. It's become a unified communication platform. Companies today use Google Suites to improve team productivity through Google Workspace collaboration tools, okay, and reduce operating costs with Google Cloud infrastructure and on-premise hardware. There's one more benefit of having convergence. It helps you create more jobs, more opportunities, and as and when if there are more jobs, obviously the economic development and the living standard kind of improves. There are certain factors, so because I work for telecom, there are certain factors that are causing divergence in the TMT industry. I would notably call it the digitization, the connectivity, and the innovation. Now, digitization is creating a disruptive impact across business, transforming them from being isolated industries to being a part of excessive ecosystem. Connectivity in India is far underpinned by the low-cost mobile connectivity. A cost of data in India is 18 cents as compared to global average of $1.8. Convergence opportunities continue to get created with widespread application of new age technologies, demand for OTT, affordability of mobile devices, and low tariff connectivities. Today, media production houses are creating exclusive digital content. Technology companies are providing them hosted applications, and telecom providers are giving them last mile connectivity to their phone. Reliance Jio's acquisition of Eros now, Savan, Alt Balaji, and Voot is a prime example of strategic collaborations for building resilience. If we talk about telecom and technology convergence, you have an example of Google collaborating with Idea, Vodafone Idea guys, to give them the virtual chatbot. For that matter, even Bharti Airtel partnered with Google for AI-powered voice-based customer assistant, right? In case of telecom and media convergence, you can take example of all the telecom providers collaborating with top OTT providers to increase their subscription base and revenue, right? Final thoughts on this. Opening a business has its own continuous process with its own share of challenges, ups and downs, right? And for a company, it requires adaptation to new trends and customer preferences. For a business to continue its success, the secret sauce is still those three R's. They have to be responsive, they have to be relevant, and they have to be resilient, right? Hence, respond to the market change, stay relevant, and stay resilient. Leverage convergence for transient competitive advantage, or paint yourself into a corner. That's about it, guys. Thank you so much.
Now, I humbly request Mr. Rajiv Bhalla to deliver the keynote address.
Yeah, good. Oh. Yeah, I think this might be better here. This was giving feedback. Professor Jaiswal, Mr. Pandey, Rachit, fellow panelists, faculty members, students, and friends. I'm delighted to be here this morning as you start your journey in this conclave to kind of learn more about how business resilience can be driven through leveraging convergence. So let me just say to Professor Jaiswal, he did mention that he had visited a politician, and the politician said he looked young and he was not bald, so he can't be a professor. I'm bald, but I'm not a professor. But I was in a B school a few days back, and one of the students, like you guys, asked me, "Sir, what's your prediction of the future?" And all I could say is the future is going to be far more complex than what it is today. And at the other, along with this, you must realize that it's really impossible to predict the future. I mean, it's a fact. We all live in a VUCA world. I guess you know what VUCA is, right? But look at what's happening in the past 3 years. We went through the turbulence called COVID. Then you had the Russia and Russia and Ukraine war, and now recently you have the stuff that's happening between Israel and the Hamas folks, right? All this has ramifications for business, all this has ramifications for us as individuals. And what do you do in such an environment, or what does a business do in such an environment? It has to obviously adjust the sails of its boat, navigate, and move ahead, right? That to me is resilience. When you layer technology onto this, there's far more complexity that's added. I firmly believe that whatever you're doing right today might not be right tomorrow. Whatever is working today might not work tomorrow. I mean, look at COVID again, right? We were all working offline. Suddenly, when COVID hit, we had to quickly pivot towards working in an online mode, right? Companies that weren't or hadn't adapted digital strong enough, had huge challenges. Look at BlackBerry, right? BlackBerry was a leader as far as QWERTY phones is concerned, and then lo and behold, it didn't move on, and it lost out on the touch-based smartphone. You guys have all learned about Kodak, so I'm not going to talk about Kodak. But the point that I'm trying to say is one has to be paranoid and not be complacent, because what's working today suddenly can get disrupted and might not work tomorrow, right? And in these kind of scenarios, one has to be prepared for a challenge. You guys will read lots of books which will say, leadership means being prepared to handle a crisis. But what do you do when you're living in a world where there's crisis on a daily basis, right? You've got to reinvent yourself. You've got to reinvent your business. And that's how you're going to be staying relevant, right? To me, resilience is nothing but the ability to withstand a shock, to adjust to that shock, and to move ahead. Now layer on convergence, since convergence is the point that we're talking about, right? Convergence is the coming together, I'd put it simplistically, coming together of different industries, ideas, technologies to create something new and more powerful, right? Very often I equate convergence to being like a Swiss Army knife in your strategy. Each of the tools in the Swiss Army knife, have a function, but the Swiss Army knife by itself is greater than the sum total of all the tools put together, right? If you look at a smartphone, the smartphone brought about convergence in computing, communication, and entertainment, right? And in many ways, revolutionized our world. So the point I'm trying to state is convergence is that part in your business strategy as we talk about, it's that part or that strategic element that can convert your business from being a mere mortal to being a superhero, right? So why wouldn't you want to be a superhero, or why wouldn't you want your business to be a superhero? The advantages, Rachit referred to it, but essentially I look at it at 4 levels, right? When businesses converge, or you get access to newer markets, you get access to newer industries, you risk mitigate, and you also diversify. I mean, look at a conventional manufacturer who is producing a good, a product, and there you layer that product with IoT, and you have a connected product. Then you leverage the data that you're getting out of that connected product to get more insights and then get closer to the customer. In this way, you diversify, you converge, and you also risk mitigate. So that's advantage number 1. Advantage number 2 is around innovation amplification, right? When you kind of work with or merge different industries, technologies, it kind of leads to innovation amplification, which helps you stay more resilient. The third is with everything that's being driven today due to technology, you get more insights, and that insights can lead to more customer centricity, can lead to more revenue streams. So that's another crucial advantage of convergence. And my perspective is businesses that converge actually are far more agile, are far more nimbler, and can react to turbulence in a better way. I mean, if you look at India per se, we are becoming the world's poster child as far as the convergence of banking and fintech is concerned, right? You have, because of fintech, you now have reach to far and beyond. You've kind of moved digital payments through Paytm and PhonePe and Google Pay and made it accessible for everyone. You have the Prime Minister's Jan Dhan Yojana, which is ensuring that the actual benefit reaches to the incumbent for whom it's actually meant. And that's what's happening by convergence between finance and fintech. So also in health tech, the healthcare industry is another industry that's kind of getting revolutionized, right? We all saw ourselves get into e-consultations during COVID. We all saw ourselves kind of, talking to the doctors remotely. You have patient records being maintained, and can be accessed anytime, anywhere. And then you have wearable devices which kind of help you track patients' critical parameters. I come from a company called Barco, and we also cater to the healthcare space. And in the healthcare space, we are now seeing AI being used for better diagnosis. And that's going to be another story that's going to be driven out of convergence, right? Another convergence of AV and IT. What you see here being projected, again, we are, or my erstwhile company, I'm transitioning. My erstwhile company is a leader as far as projection technology is concerned. All the PVRs, Inox, Cinepolis is 100% on us. But this projection technology is also going to change. We are now working on something called light as a service, where you're not going to sell the product, you're actually going to sell a service. And then again, you'll get another revenue stream. So again, with technology, the point that I'm trying to emphasize is there are new things happening, new revenue streams coming into play. Rachit talked about Amazon, and Amazon is a classic example that moved from being a bookstore to converging to being a tech giant, which has, logistics, a cloud platform, and e-commerce, and so on and so forth, right? So there are clear advantages. Now, as I conclude, what should be the strategy for convergence? I think in today's day and age, it's clear. You've got to embrace change, embrace technology. I mean, every company today is a digital company. No company can tell me that you're not digital. I was talking to Mr. Pandey this morning, and he says, hey, we are already using a lot of AI and automation for routine processes, and this is aluminum, right? So manufacturing is getting automated, and there's a lot more that's happening. So if you don't embrace technology, I think that company is going to die. So you've got to embrace change, embrace technology. You've got to foster a culture of innovation, and by innovation, I mean not innovation for the sake of innovation, but innovation for impact. You've got to measure what you're doing and how is it going to lead to an impactful output. The third is collaborate, and I keep telling my team that, hey, one's got to be looking at collaborating, looking at how you can kind of leverage the strength of startups to kind of move ahead. And the last part I'd say is, in today's day and age, one's got to foster a DNA of learning. And I say this to all of you young guys. I'm 30 years into the corporate world, but I'm now at that stage where I say, hey, I want to reinvent myself to stay relevant. So you've got to have a DNA of wanting to learn. You've got to be a lifelong learner. And today's day and age, again, with all the stuff that is happening around AI, generative AI, and stuff, if you don't kind of, learn to use these, you're going to lose out in the race. So my point is, embrace convergence, foster a culture of learning. You might not all do a PhD, but do develop the attributes of a PhD, that is passion, hunger, and desire to want to be a lifelong learner, and you will succeed. So thank you for your attention, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you for your enlightening words, sir. I would now like to request Mr. Kailash Pandey to address the gathering.
Good morning to all of you. I'm audible? Okay, great. So, thank you, Professor Jaiswal, Professor Rao, Rajiv, and Rachit. And thank you for inviting me for this workshop, this conference. And I think Rajiv talked about the geopolitical aspect of the business. If you see in the world, every day the world is changing. And it's also not about VUCA. So I think VUCA is old now. People are talking about Bani world. So now, what business will do in such a scenario where the world is changing every day? And the topic where you talked about resilience and convergence and how businesses are working. Actually, I will tell you our own story. We have a plant, 3 plants very near to you, and only 35 kilometers from this place, I think. And you can visit my plant. I am from Hindalco. We have 3 setups here. We have a latest state-of-art aluminum smelter and power plants. And we are producing purest aluminum in the world and supplying to Boeing, Mitsubishi, Hyundai and all. So I will talk about 3 things: the digitalization, how sustainability is changing, and how culture is also changing, and how we are connecting and converging in that culture. So first I will talk about digitalization. So Professor Jaiswal, Rachit and Rajiv talked about Amazon. Do you know that because of digitalization, how Amazon is getting benefited? We all are purchasing many things from Amazon. If you search anything like iPhone, Amazon will also prompt you that the people who purchased this phone also purchased the screen guard and the case. And you will not believe Amazon is earning 25 to 30% of revenue by prompting these things only. So they are utilizing the real-time data and getting the benefit. But in case of manufacturing industries, it's not easy at all. Try to understand, we have a blend of old technology and the new technology. Old technology where connecting the data or finding the real-time data is extremely difficult. And then again, how to utilize that data. So now we are conversing. We are using the digitalization. We are using AI. We are using machine learning. And what we are doing, we are trying to capture the data from each and every machine center and utilizing that data and real-time utilizing that data and predicting the failures before actually that failure happens. And really this is getting benefit to all of us. So I will give you one example of my plant. So I know that many of you from engineering background also. So before failure of any transformer or motor, if we predict the failure and avoid that failure, you can understand how much we gain out of that. But it's not easy, but manufacturing company need to converse, need to understand that and need to take the benefit of technology. We are doing that and you can very well come to my plant and see that how we are doing. The second part, which is very critical, we are using coal because we have a thermal power plant. And every day we need 20,000 metric ton of coal. You see the amount of coal, 20,000 metric ton of coal, it's a huge amount. But how to real-time track the quantity and quality of the coal? Because you know the coal is black and it's difficult to handle coal. It's not only the color of coal is black, there are many issues also with the coal. So we have developed a system, a full real-time based system. Every day or any time, any second, I can, through my mobile, I can check that how many trucks have entered inside my plant, what is the quality of that coal, and what is the quantity of that coal. Anyone can see that. And these things are getting benefit to us. These things are basically keeping us ahead of our competitors. The third example of digitalization, in any manufacturing company or anywhere in the world, basically safety is one of the core important things. And for us, safety is the main priority. So how we have utilizing that digitalization in safety? So we have in plant around 200 to 300 cameras, but that cameras are now intelligent cameras. We have inbuilt some technology there. We call it Veda. And that technology is helping us if someone is removing their helmet on the shop floor or jacket, that is giving the prompt. And also giving message to their manager, their department head, SMS, that in that area, the job is not going well. Someone is deviating the safety norms. So that technology, even we are utilizing the drones. So drones we are utilizing for safety purpose, for security purpose. So we have a drones, we have purchased our own drones, and we have a boundary, plant boundary of 15 kilometer, total 3,300 acres of land we have where we have a plant. And that drone is helping us in the night time. We are running that drone, and any intrusion that drone is detecting, and the QRT team is acting on that. So digitalization is one thing where we are converging, and that is helping us a lot. The second part which I am going to cover is sustainability. Sustainability is not only the buzzword right now. Means if you want to grow, you need to be sustainable, and renewable energy is one of that. But the problem with renewable energy is that if you have a solar plant, you are only getting sunlight in a daytime. And for manufacturing industry, you need uninterrupted power supply 24/7. So how to do that? So we are doing few things. I will give you some example of that also. So actually solar plant, if you have solar plant and wind plant, your plant load factor, or you can supply 44% of PLF. But if you will add pump hydro, then you will get 90% of power. So what we are doing, we are connected with one of the company called Greenco, which has a very high 2.4 gigawatt solar, 2.3 gigawatt wind, and some pump hydro facilities in Karnataka. We are connecting with them, and we are getting the green power from them. We have a plan, and we have a plan to reduce 50% of our thermal generation, reduction of 50% of thermal generation, and utilization of 50% of green power. It's not easy thing. And if you see today, revenue-wise also, I don't think that we are going to get any advantage. But yes, we want that thing to be done, because it's not easy. There are many challenges in that. And if you use that green power to produce aluminum, that aluminum called green aluminum. And there is a huge demand of green aluminum in the market, and it's difficult to get green aluminum now in the market at present. So we are on job, and we are doing that also. For any manufacturing company and for aluminum, we have 19 type of hazardous waste. So we are generating 19 type of hazardous waste. But the issue is that how we are measuring and maintaining the records of that waste, and where we are sending these wastes. So we are collaborating with cement companies and other companies, and we have introduced the blockchain technology. I think first time in India, we are implementing the blockchain technology. That implementation is going on, and our expectation is that we'll start that by end of this December. The third thing which is important, which is very, very important factor, is that for any industry, or I think for the world also, is culture. And in culture, I'm taking the example of multi-generational workforce. We have in that generation, where in our plant, we have millennials also, Generation G also, some other generation people also. So how to converse that? It's extremely difficult, because the expectation of millennials is something else. The expectation of Generation G extremely different from millennials. So how to converse that? So we have introduced some small process. I will share that detail with you. So we thought that why not connect those? And we thought that if you appreciate anyone, any generation people in front of everyone, I think that will give some advantage, and if you start appreciating, people will start connecting with you. So what we decided, we have a manufacturing plant. Our focus is on return on capital employed, productivity, reliability and all. But we thought that why not start focusing on 5 behaviors. And these 5 behaviors which we have adopted is that empowerment and trust, winning with team, learning fast and learning from mistakes, taking accountability, and speed. And we are doing the rituals, and every week in front of everyone, actually we are appreciating people who is showing those behaviors or any one of that behavior. And you will not believe that appreciation is working for us like anything. You will see a motivated workforce, people are appreciating each other, recognizing each other. Even the generations also, they are respecting, they are appreciating. And even in my plant, you will find that the reverse mentoring is also started happening. So we are focusing on only one thing, appreciating people. And that has started working for us. So if you want to live in that world, the world is not difficult, but you need to be curious. You need to be agile. You need to be resilient. And you need to understand that convergence and understanding of your own businesses, own environment, the whole world environment is extremely important. I wish you all the best and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening and wise words. Now, I would like to request our director, sir, to felicitate the guests. As we have come to the end of the inaugural ceremony, I would like to request Professor Sudhendra Mahanumanta Rao of IIM Sambalpur to propose the vote of thanks for the inaugural ceremony.
Respected Director, Professor Jaiswal, dignitaries on the stage, dignitaries in the audience, my colleagues, it's my pleasure and privilege to propose today's event. Before that, a brief word about the topic of our event this year. It is building business resilience by leveraging convergence. As various speakers have highlighted, convergence means that coming together of ideas, people, processes, concepts, technologies on a common platform. And our director, Professor Jaiswal, and convergence has quite some history. Professor Jaiswal gave quite an early history of convergence from his own experience, where somebody coming from a technology field had to work with policy and governance to leverage the two to develop better solutions to the problems we face. And today, the area of convergence is reaching a level of maturity due to all these phenomena coming together: people, process, technologies, concepts, and even natural phenomena like global warming are converging, literally, pardon the pun, on a common platform which helps us to develop new solutions to old problems, new solutions to new problems, innovate in old areas which we have seen today, innovate new products and new ideas. So that's what is one of the phenomena that's happening around all of us. And the second stream of our topic is resilience. During the dot-com bust and in the 2008 crash, we saw how companies can be so impermanent. Companies, who remembers Yahoo today? None. And at one time, one of the most valued companies. What happened to Bear Stearns, Solomon Brothers? Companies with long histories just disappeared. That is, businesses and companies are fragile. So how do we address that? One way to do that is build resilience. We sustain. Again, our speakers today gave examples of what is that and how do we do that. And so our topic this year brings these two streams of thought together for all our industry experts, starting from this panel onwards, over the next 2 days to deliberate and share their wisdom with all of us, so that we can leverage that in our own thinking and our own knowledge and handle the situations in our future, in our careers as they come along. And as pointed out, convergence brings stakeholders from different areas. And we have an excellent example on the stage today. We have 3 speakers, one coming from entertainment and marketing, another from healthcare, and the third one is from traditional, what we think is traditional manufacturing. Despite that, they all have come and shared common ideas. How convergence, they are leveraging that. So I would like to start by thanking Mr. Pradhan, who comes from the area of entertainment and marketing. And he particularly highlighted different types of resilience. Resilience is not just one word, and that's important for us. It's not one single concept, one thing that we can just put resilience in. We have to build it in at different layers. And he also gave us some techniques on how to do that. Teamwork, collaborating with people and other areas. Thanks for accepting our invitation, Mr. Pradhan, and thanks for sharing your ideas with us. Our thanks are also due to Mr. Rajiv Bala, who also talked about fragility. And the source of that fragility, as he talked about, is uncertainty. We can't predict the future. So that gives us shocks rather. So how do we make ourselves shock-proof? How do we develop resilience? And one word he mentioned which pleased me a lot, because I had heard the word long time back, paranoia. The way we can deal with uncertainty is to be paranoid. Incidentally, it also happened to be a favorite word of one of the previous chairmen of Intel. He's actually one of the founders also, Andrew Grove. He used to say, in this world, in the future world, only the paranoid survive. Thank you for highlighting that aspect, that this is one way to deal with uncertainty, the VUCA world. And you also shared examples of how to build resilience both at the corporate level, also at each of our levels as individuals. He said how all of us can keep ourselves current. Thank you for that piece of career advice to our students. And thanks for accepting our offer and sharing your wisdom. And our third speaker, Mr. Kailash Pandey, is no stranger to our institution and our campus, in fact. This is second visit to his campus. Welcome again, Mr. Pandey. And Mr. Pandey highlighted the perception of business, our idea of these factors which buffet us are moving away from VUCA to a Bani world. And he gave us 3 key thrusts that his organization is adopting, which again goes back to the concept of convergence to leverage to make it more resilient and be more efficient in their operations. You talked to us about digitalization, sustainability, and culture. And not only that, you gave us examples of how you are leveraging that in what we thought is a traditional area, manufacturing and minerals, how new technologies can be adopted in traditional areas, manufacturing, like manufacturing, to make us, to leverage these concepts and make us stronger moving forward. Again, thanks for accepting our invitation and joining us today. I would also like to thank our director, Professor Jaiswal, who not only gave us essentially a brief history of convergence, but he is also the chief drive and energy and motivation for this initiative to get started. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for motivating us to get the event off ground and sharing your thoughts and wisdom with us. I should also mention that Director Professor Jaiswal mentions our efforts at inclusivity, which again is an aspect of convergence. You need to have convergence of people too. And in light of what's happening elsewhere, for example, even in some of the most advanced universities out in West, in STEM areas, the ratio of boys and girls is still around 60-40, 70-30. Given that, our achievement here is particularly laudable, and we are all very happy about that. Thank you for joining us, sir. And I would also like to thank all the volunteers and staff who have worked tirelessly behind the scene to get this event off ground. And over the next 2 days, you'll hear from a number of experts. I would urge each one of you to attend the sessions and absorb as much as you can. Welcome to the event, and thank you all.
So thank you for the enlightening words. Now we will pause here for a short break, and we would get back here by 11:35 and would start with the next panel. Thank you, sir.
Hello, hello, hello.